the root function, represented by that red tick there. The root function in sacred geometry has many similarities and performs many similar tasks to the root function in nature, such as generation, transformation, alternation, division, synthesis, fusion, integration, and alchemy. So alchemy in the plant occurs on a number of levels, 2 levels here, the root system and the leaf system. The root system secretes acids into the soil, breaking down the mineral compounds into tiny constituents that anyway, you know the rest of the story. But in geometry, the root powers are embedded in the 3 shapes through interangular relationships and points of opposition. And it's the relationship between the edges of the shapes and the lengths of the root powers that generate these 3 ratios, 1.414, 732 and 618, known as root 2, root 3 and root 5, plus 1 divided by 2, which is usually shortened to phi, the golden ratio. As an example, let's take a look at some of the abilities of root 2. Because what we're looking at here is an encapsulation of the fundamentals of sacred geometry, the relationship between shape and root power, between the bounded and the boundless, because if we give the edge of the square the value of 1, then the length of the root power is endless, is infinite. A transcendental number rounded down to 3 decimal places. And it's the relationship between the edge of the square and the length of the diagonal, the root power, that can take us places, that can take us from the finite to the infinite by following certain simple progressions through extension and expansion of root 2. We can move out toward infinite expansion. So it's an unending process, working in the opposite direction through the division, through the contraction of root 2, takes us toward infinite contraction. Okay, now we need to tune it a little bit. So we'll join these 5 squares, which are part of an infinite process, all connected through root 2. We'll tilt them 15 degrees because that's a multiple of the 45-degree angle that root 2 diagonal lies in the square. So now it's tuned to something really quite remarkable, transforming it from the mundane, regular square. It is now something, it is part of something much greater than that. It's part of a collection of squares. Now it's 60 squares of 5 different sizes, all arranged around the center. And by further dividing by root 2, we'll continue on down to infinite contraction, or going the opposite direction through multiplication of root 2 takes us outward toward multiple expansion. And in this infinite series of squares, every square is related to every other square through a series of spirals, clockwise spirals, counter-clockwise spirals, and circular formations.